So today on working on the express van, we've been sidetracked working on a transmission, sidetracked working on house projects, and now we're gonna be back here working on this because we don't have rear heat or AC. So pulled off this panel here and this panel here. So the tools you're gonna need to do this, now that I'm done, I know. So you're watching this at the beginning though, is a 10 mil. An extension would be nice, but not required. A 7 mil. And a 5.5. Don't know what those equate to in SAE offhand, but imagine that's what these two probably are, SAE bits, but I've got metric that worked. So working on this panel here, you got these clips that run down this side, 3 of them. You got that clip right there, and then there's a little lip down here, right there, and that comes off of the lower panel. You get the lower panel right here. You got 3 clips on the outside section, 1 on the inside that's back in there, and then you can get that guy off, letting you get into the rear HVAC. So we're gonna look at taking off this here, and we can hear the relays click. So if you go ahead and turn that on and off, we hear the relays click. So we are getting power to the relays. It looks like this is our resistor card here, and we're gonna see if we're getting power to everything. So assuming this is the resistor card in here, checking on this to this pin, we are getting 12 volts on it. So we're getting power into the resistor card, which is a good sign. Now I've kind of just popped this up out of the way. There's 1 pin here that I think was holding that in. Yeah. So I just got that up out of the way, and I'm gonna reach around here and see if I can take out that plug right there, and we'll see if we're getting power into the fan. So we got that off, we got the probes in it, getting 12 volts on it right now. Okay, so we're getting power to the fan, and we are not getting any fan movement, so we got a bad blower. So now that we've established it should be the motor, it looks like we just have to pull off these resistors, or not resistors, but relays with this little bolt here. And then we have this little anchoring bolt here. And this should be able to rock out just enough that we can get to the rest of the bolts of the back for the blower and get that whole blower assembly out and replace it. So we got another one right down here. And then there should be probably a third on this side. I think there's only 3 of them that hold that in. All right, so working on the very bottom one in the back, right underneath where my hand is at right now was a another bolt, and then I undid the harness from here and here and tucked it all back up in there, and then you can see right there reaching around and underneath. I can barely get this one. And it looks like that tape joint is gonna have to come apart too. It looks like there's some kind of like condensate drain or something from this motor, because I took off that rubber band looking thing and that did nothing. So working on it. That's my setup. And as just about anybody could have predicted, I dropped it in the worst possible spot imaginable. Seemed to got in there worse. Now we gotta drop it again. All right, so as the video I watched, there's not enough space to pull this whole squirrel cage out, even by having this flex, unless I'm probably gonna break off these lines or some of this plastic. I'm doing something wrong. So got a handful of pliers and a screwdriver. I'm gonna see if I can get this clip off and be able to pull it off the squirrel cage and then take this off separately from the squirrel cage. So after a decent amount of arguing with this thing, I did get it out, and yeah, it's not too bad once you separate the squirrel cage. So that also would mean that'd be the easier way to install it, which is not what I'm looking forward to. So I'm gonna bench test this real quick, probably pull it apart because that's what I like to do. See what's wrong with it while I'm waiting on the new part to come in. So we got this torn apart here, and I just realized I was recording the last couple of videos in blur, so that is awesome. Those are probably gonna turn out terrible. So we got the motor torn apart, comm bar is decently grooved. I don't know if these start with a groove in them or they wear in. Everything I typically see, they're flat, just all the way down, so you can see that is a decent wear into that. And then you have the brushes. That brush, I would say, is gone. A little bit of tiny life left on that. So if I were to find a brush set for this, and then that comm bar cleaned up, it is pretty worn in my opinion, and the color of dust and everything on my hands in here, I'd say that is the issue right there. I haven't checked to make sure that whatever those are right there aren't burned up, but outward appearance they look okay. So I'd say that's probably why this motor ain't working. I'm just taking it apart, put it back together. I'm guessing that really short brush got stuck and wasn't moving. It's running right now. So it is a little bit of noise in it, but literally did nothing other than take it apart, put it back together, and it's running again. So brush is wearing out. Got a new one ordered, or pick one up tomorrow, whichever one I see fit. Gotta do some price checking, but yeah. All right, so we got this CarQuest premium blower. Looks like the same part number as the Four Seasons picture. Looked identical to the Four Seasons on the listing. It did show a nut there in the middle, which I was really hoping for, but this is a straight press fit, so I don't know how we're gonna get this in here now. On assembly, to note, you have to get this little tube in that hole pointing over to where that goes in the back, and then a little rubber band on. I'm gonna try to do that last so that I can get to the lower screw, whichever direction that's gonna be. I think it would be that one right there. So I'm gonna put that on last. All right, so we already had our CarQuest one out. We got our Four Seasons, which same exact part number between the two. And I've already taken a look at this one. On the Four Seasons, the packaging is a hair better. But we have a little snafu. That looks like one of the brush wires just smashed in the housing right there. Overall construction looks very similar to the CarQuest, but I don't think the motor shaft was visible in the back of the CarQuest. We'll look at that in a moment though. So we're going to test this and see if this even works, to know if we're going to try to wrestle it in there. But it also does not have the nut in the middle as depicted in the photos. Got both parts out of the box here. Overall, they do look pretty identical. Same kind of setup here, which is going to be miserable. The problem with this one though is you have this brush bar in the way of where that little like drain tube goes, so you can't put the drain on. And on this one you don't. The rear construction on them is kind of like the same fold over tabs thing going on. A little bit different back plate. This one's snout is a little bit different, where that one doesn't have the motor shaft coming up all the way through it. They both look to be clocked close to the same, slightly different clocking on them though. So we'll see how that is for trying to get that in. I don't have to compare that to the original motor. And the original motor clocking is even still different. So it's going to be interesting how this goes back together. Cool. Because that's pretty much, that one's close, that one's close, that one's way off. So this to that hole is pretty similar, so they're going to bolt up similar to those. This one is way off from here, so that one, CarQuest, is garbage. And going back, we're going to try to force in the 4 Seasons. So we got the 4 Seasons hooked up. Go ahead and turn it on low. And holy smokes, it actually does work. Medium, high, and off. Baffled that works. Let's go ahead and try to install it. So with way more force I ever wanted to put into poling on this, really hated it. I got the 4 Seasons blower in, and now I'm gonna get the hardware, put those back in, try to put the strap back on, and then it's on this bag down here because it's been a couple days. We'll try to get this thing continue to put together. It's gonna get harder to turn.
It is.
You can't grab the big spot. There you go. Now you can grab the socket you're holding, and that should help you be able to turn it in a little bit more until I can get it with the ratchet.
Side?
Not the square side, the 6-sided side. You're putting it the wrong way.
You just told me not this.
I couldn't see which side. Don't drop it. Whenever you're done, I'll get the ratchet. You're getting all in. All right, so with some help, got that back on there. Now I gotta get this little vent tube thing in, so I'm gonna try to put it down in there, get that tucked in, strap on, and then that pushed back into that little spot. Get some light on it, right in there. So did my best to feel and fit that in. Got the band back on. Hook up all the wiring again. Pull this wiring back around front. And plug it all in. That bolt back in there we took out that we didn't really show very well. This bolt back up in here, and then the relays. So we got all this reassembled. We're gonna double check that we don't get any weird sounds from it before we put the plastics back on. So go ahead and turn the blower on. Ooh, a little bit of dust from everything kicking up in there. Give me one more. And one more. And back off. So it sounds like a slight rub. I don't hear it in here. I don't know. Slight tick. Man, I already got metallic all over those vents. That's not going to help the motor hold up. But wasn't a whole lot of cleaning that out I could do unless I got air and just blew it into the car, which is what that did. So go ahead and get the vent put back in and button all this up. So getting the vent put back in, just angled this forward, and I was able to kind of get it slipped up into the top here, and then work that back down until this is able to drop over top of this. And we'll take this little pin, push that in, pop it in, and now onto the plastics. So you're gonna put the bottom one in first. Get these two little clips that have to go in between here for this front lip. So this is gonna go down and behind. You're gonna get that behind this panel, and then this there. Just gonna try to wiggle those in there. There it is. Get that clip in, and then the same, just clips on the back. And there's 3 of them. Just make sure you line them up, and then push them in. And now we'll get the top piece in. So on the top piece, you get this little clip here that has to slide over. You got this guy here. So this is actually the bottom and the front. So we'll roll that around. Just slide that one in front of it. And that one back here, that guy there, just gonna lift that up, get that behind, and then just click in the clips. Just got the one clip right up here. Just want to line it up so right now we're low. Just gotta lift it up here, snap it in, and then again, just lining up the 3 across the back and getting those in. There you are, we're fully reassembled. We've got rear heat and air again.